Hey guys, welcome back to week 16 of the Axial Deadbolt budget build. Now, we've got a lot of upgrades in this truck, and I've got a lot of upgrades sitting over on that shelf there waiting to go on this truck. But some weeks I just have to do a little bit at a time to make room for bigger upgrades the next week. This week is one of those weeks, but that doesn't make this week any less important. This week what we're going to do is we're going to install a set of MIP Driveshafts. Now, the driveshafts that come on the Deadbolt are different than have come on previous Axial SCX10 kits or ready to runs in the past. These are the wild bore driveshafts, but they're the wild bore HDs. Now, to this point, I have had zero issues with these wild bore driveshafts. Now, I really don't know the limits of them yet, is the other thing. They may be perfectly fine for an indefinite amount of time. I don't know that. And not knowing is what has me a little bit worried, being that this is going to be a truck that I'm going to compete with. I'm going to travel thousands of miles to drive this truck on rocks somewhere else. And for that reason, I want to go with something that I know is going to hold up for me. And for me, MIP driveshafts are something that have always been extremely reliable. So that's what I'm going to install on this car. Again, I've had zero issues with these wild bore driveshafts. So if you are not somebody who's looking to compete or are going to just be devastated by a driveshaft ruining a day by making you maybe DNF a course, maybe those HD wild bore driveshafts are going to be just fine for you. Like I said, the reason that I'm going to swap them out is just that peace of mind and reliability. Now, when it comes to metal driveshafts, I'm very picky when it comes to these. MIP has been the standby for me, kind of setting the standard for reliability. I've tried the Junfax and I've broke them on multiple occasions. The little D-shaped window on the opening of the Junfax is not very deep, and I've blown apart the end of that shaft on numerous occasions. Not something that I will ever go back to. The smaller size of the Junfax is a plus, but other than that, not something that I'm willing to run. The other ones made by some of the cheaper brands, Energy and things like that, not even worth messing with. They fall apart too quickly. Just avoid them. Spend a little bit of money, get the MIPs. They're worth every penny. So what I've got here is part number 8101. This is the Axial MIP C-Spline CVD kit. The 8101 is the cheapest set of MIPs you can buy and works out very well. It does use a 2mm wrench to install the set screws, something that Axial did not used to do until they went to these HD wild bores. Before, you had to use that 1.5, very annoying. This setup was something that I really liked and something that Axial eventually went to. We're actually going to use the set pins from the Axials to install these on because these use a set screw as opposed to that set pin. Otherwise, I would use the Traxxas set pin. So, in case you guys have never assembled a set of MIPs, we're going to crack open this little package here, throw together a set, show you how it goes, throw them on the car, and get this thing finished up.
So here are our major components of the drive shaft. We have our output adapter, as well as one of the center portions of the drive shaft. And then the inner parts of the CVD function are the barrel, one of the pins, and then the short set screw. The long set screws that are included are actually to attach the drive shaft, so don't use those. MIP supplies grease and blue Loctite. Place the barrel into the center part of the output. Then make sure to line up the hole that goes through the barrel with the outside slots. Slide over the center section of the drive shaft and put the pin through. Make sure to pay attention to where the flat spot on the shaft is, because when you put it through the center drive shaft, you need to line that up with the threads of the barrel. That way the short set screw that you will apply Loctite to first has a nice easy place to lock down onto, and this will keep the pin securely fastened into the center drive shaft. After repeating the steps 4 times, you've got your 2 assembled drive shafts. Remove the original drive shafts from your rig. Keep your stock set pins because we're going to reuse those inside of our MIP shafts. In the front, I like to use the female side on the actual axle. On the rear, I like to use the male side on the axle. I find that this gives me less hard lips to catch. Apply blue Loctite to the original set pins and then install them into the MIP drive shafts. Replace them on both the axle and transmission side. Again, making sure to use Loctite on those set pins when reinstalling.
Well, that's about all there is to a drive shaft swap. Not the most interesting thing in the world, but one more piece to have peace of mind about this car when I set it down for the first time on the course. Now, again, by no means am I going to scrap these HD Wildboard drive shafts. They're definitely something that I'll keep around, and I'm sure there's going to be another project down the road where I'll be able to throw them in there, because by all means they were holding up really well, and I'm really impressed with Axial's upgrade that they included with the Deadbolt right out of the box. So, week 16 is in the bag. Now, since we didn't spend that much this week, and we didn't spend a ton last week either, that does leave us a good chunk of change that next week I'm going to spend on the front end of this car in a different way than I've done before. So, look forward to that video next Thursday, and thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you on the next one.